Alright YouTube, what's going on? It's M White here. We back again. As you can see, I have assembled or started to assemble the Emax project. So I have the front axle pretty much done. We went with the 17-inch hex adapters, the turnbuckles, both sides, stock shocks. Remember I told you to try that experiment with the stock shocks. So they were dyed black. Went with the VG Racing springs and 50 weight oil. So we're going to see how that holds up. And other than that, that's it. RPM front bumper. Same thing for the rear. Turnbuckles, RPM, rear bumper. Same experiment with the shocks. 17-inch hex. So all we got to do now is actually put it back together. And then we'll wait for this Mamba Monster 2200 kV to get here. So let's go ahead and start our reassembly completely. Now I switched to the Traxxas 2075. The stock servo is the 2056, so I want a little bit more torque, so I switched to that. So let's go ahead and start to install these first. Alright, so we got both of the servos installed. The next thing I'm going to do is replace the steering link. I have another aluminum red steering link to match this. So let's go ahead and get that going. Alright, now we have the aluminum steering link installed. So now we'll just place the servo savers, connect those to the servos, and the steering system will be finished until I put on my front axle. And I still may have to make some additional adjustments once I get the power on and the wheels to make sure it's lined up nice and straight. And there she is. She's complete. So now let's go ahead and start installing the axles. Alright, so we got we have the two halves slid together, so what we're going to do now is flip it over and start putting our screws in. Alright, now that we have the front axle actually connected to the chassis, it's time to connect the rest of the steering linkage. Alright, so we have the front end is now complete. We have both servos installed, the aluminum steering link and aluminum turnbuckle. So we're good to go now. Let's move over to the rear axle. we have finished the assembly for the Emax with the black chassis die. Looks pretty good. Only thing I have to do now is install my electronics besides the servos, the motor, and the batteries, and we'll be good to go. So a little more tweaking to do, but I think we're good. 505 RC. Stay tuned. Alright YouTube, so now that I got the chassis all back together, I went on and put the wheels and tires on. So I'll give you a quick view of the bottom. So you can see all the aluminum parts there, the rear turnbuckle, the steering aluminum linkage, the front turnbuckles. Right now I have the Big Joes on there with the red 17mm hex adapters. I love these wheels for bashing. I use a different set of wheels for actual racing. So this is a completed chassis, put all back together. Got all my guards in, my front protecting and my rear middle protection for the transmission. And only thing left to do now, like I said, is get the electronics, the Mamba Monster, and the batteries, and we'll be ready to run. So Emax 505 Emax build, almost in our final stages. Stay tuned, coming with more great builds for you. 505 RC.